Welcome back to this yet to be named video series by Bear Bottle. Today we're going to be talking about Bernal Sunset, our new Belgian style Witbier. We'll fix the fog in post. Belgian wit beers are probably one of my favorite styles to brew ever. As a home brewer, I had to make this every single month in order to satiate all my friends who would come over for barbecues, and I have honed this recipe down. What I think makes wit beers special is they're really a showcase for spice. The way that an IPA is a showcase for hops, you're allowed to throw anything you kind of want in a wit beer. The traditional being coriander and dried orange zest or orange peel in Hoegaarden and Allagash White. We do very similar things here, but not necessarily in the same way. Let's give it a taste. The first thing you'll notice is this giant pillowy head. That comes from the almost 50% wheat and oats and the high carbonation, as is tradition for the style. Ton of zest character, fresh orange zest, some spice, black pepper, almost like a menthol lime note. Huge intense orange character, some cloves, some black pepper, and giant wheatiness in a really dry, crisp finish. This beer is a combination of all its parts. For spices, we use fresh, zested Valencia oranges, none of the dry stuff, ground fresh coriander, ground fresh grains of paradise. We did all the processing ourselves. And something special is we actually throw it in cold side like a dry hop, and that's to reduce any bitter astringency you can get. I think the real key to this is that this doesn't actually use a traditional wit beer yeast strain. The most popular wit beer strain is actually the Celis strain. You may have never heard of it. It's not actually available to homebrewers, I think. Peter Celis is the one who came up with Hoegaarden, and that is an amazing yeast, and we have made beers with it before. The Hands to Hold, if you had it during our anniversary last year. This beer uses a French Saison strain. That does a couple things. It actually dries it out, giving you an even more refreshing beer, while at the same time providing a different, less bubblegummy and more pepper-forward yeast character, which I think lends to this being extra refreshing. Maybe some people would call this a Saison, but to me it's still a wit beer. We fermented the yeast cold for the style, which kind of reduced those intense Saison characters, and with all the spices and everything, you can't really tell that it was a Saison yeast whatsoever. You still get that huge wheat character, a little bit of sweetness from the Munich malt, some body from the oats, but just pure delicious refreshment. As a home brewer, I've submitted this to a bunch of competitions and it always did really well. And I think it's because it maximizes on the intense spice character while staying extremely refreshing due to the yeast character. Tips for a home brewer. To me, a wit beer is really the epitome of excess, because you are taking something that is light and bright and spicing it with whatever you want. I've seen breweries with chamomile, rose hips, lavender, grapefruit, lemon, whatever you want. There is no actual traditional spices that are used in it. The original wit beer didn't have any spices. I would argue add your spices into the fermenter like a dry hop as opposed to in the kettle. You blow off a lot of those aromatics if you throw them in hot side, and can potentially provide a little bit of bitterness and astringency that you can't really get rid of. The spice character won't last as long, but hopefully you have enough friends and throw enough barbecues this summer that you can get your friends to finish the keg before the flavor really falls off. That's my 2 cents. Just like a dry hop, there's nothing wrong with adding all your spices cold side. This is probably one of my favorite things we've ever made. Whatever you may think, this is something you definitely need to try. 'Tis the Saison to drink a wit beer. Spice, spice, baby. It's all about the spices. I can't live with or without you, especially this beer. Whatever floats your boat. Thanks for bearing with us. Come drink our beer, come try this beer. You won't be disappointed. You won't be.
The way you said that.
Thanks for bearing with us. I love you all. How do people do this for a living?